Hello everyone, my name is Mike. I'm the lead product developer here at Forward Arrow Solutions, and today I want to spend a couple of minutes showing you what payroll looks like within our software, our suite of tools that we've developed. So let's jump right in. Over here on our Payroll Tools tab, we'll be able to see a list of all of the settlement data that has been imported for your company. Now, if you don't have the auto sync for MyGroundBiz enabled, what you'll want to do on Tuesday nights is just come up here and click this upload settlement button and import the latest CSV version of your settlement file. If you have the MyGroundBiz sync enabled, as we recommend, it will automatically pull that data in for you at around 8:30 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday nights. Once that file has been imported, we'll see a table here with some quick metrics about the file, and we can click this view button here to start the payroll process. Now, we've organized the payroll process into a few different steps: trip adjustments, fuel adjustments, driver pay, a summary, and some tools to distribute those driver mile sheets out to your drivers. Now, the first thing that you'll want to do, or that we recommend, I should say, you do with that settlement file, is take a look at the trips. When we choose this drop down up here for tractors, we can just pick our first tractor here on the list, and it's going to go ahead and display us all of the miles and trips that that tractor made based on that data from the settlement. Now, there are occasions where a driver will forget to log in or dispatch incorrectly, and we can't always trust that the driver on the settlement was the driver that was actually in the truck. So what we have here on this screen are tools to let us see those trips, and then if need be, replace that driver with a different driver here. So for the sake of the demo, let's say that these first two trips here weren't actually made by Monica. Let's go ahead and change them to Jose. And we'll see here that Jose is now actually the driver that was in this truck. They got a little out of order, no biggie. You can always just drag trips around like so to reorganize them and make sure that everything is in the correct list. Now, what we noticed when one of these trips got out of order were these red boxes here. This is going to indicate a broken leg. Now, 8745 to 0753, the next trip should start at 0753, but as you can see, it's started at 5751. Now, this is because we rearranged them, but let's just pretend that this is how it came in from the data here. Now, there's a missing leg from 753 to 751. If I go ahead and click on this big red button here, it'll give me the chance to insert a new trip from 753 to 751. Now, you'll need to go ahead and give that a mileage number because I can't exactly know how many miles were between those. And of course, FedEx is really only going to pay you how many miles they say it was in the end. But let's go ahead and give it a mileage number here and assign a driver. And that will go ahead and start the settlement adjustment process, start a case for a settlement adjustment process. We'll get more to that later when we cover the financial recovery module. Let's go ahead and rearrange these guys here. I think I'm actually using our account here, so I don't want to screw up my records too bad. So it looks like we started. That should do the trick. And maybe this one here. 26, 875, 42753. I'm going to go ahead and pause. There we go. And just like that, we've got them rearranged here. So let's go ahead and put Monica back in here. So we'll change drivers for driver 1, and we'll just go ahead and type the search, and we'll put Monica back in the driver 1 position. And now everything's back how we left it here. So once we're done reviewing our drivers we can go ahead and, after reviewing our drivers and our trips, let's go ahead and look at the fuel purchases that were made for this tractor during the week. Now, why do we want to look at the fuel purchases that were made? Well, for our business, we found that fuel can have a significant impact on the bottom line and on the profitability of our tractors. So we pay very close attention to where fuel is being purchased and the price is being purchased at. Now, as you know, if it's a fill up at a FedEx station, a Petro station, or a TA station, we get that discounted fuel price. What we have in this column here is what we've called approved fuel purchases. And these indicators here give us quick information to let us know if this purchase was an approved purchase or if it was done someplace else at a higher price. Now, what we can do with these tools right here, when you first load in, you'll notice that your trips actually kind of look like this right here. And what these buttons do is let us basically tell the database which driver actually made that purchase. Now, some of our competitors try to give you this data they'll give it to you at the truck level, because as you know, on the settlement, we don't actually have driver names, we just have truck names. And yes, you could argue that if the same driver is always in the same truck, then you could use that information to try to get a driver level breakdown. But with it being such an important metric to us, we don't mind taking the extra steps needed, especially how simple the tools have made it, to go ahead and get a true picture of a driver's approved fuel percentage. Now, what we'll do here is we'll just come in, we'll click assign. It's going to highlight the dates that match the trip here. And basically what this is doing is it's showing us all the trips that tractor made on the settlement and the drivers that were a part of those trips. Remember here over on trip adjustments, we made sure that all the right drivers were in the truck. So now when we're viewing this list right here, we know that these were, all the correct drivers here. So let's go ahead and now notice here on December 1st, we actually had more than one driver in the truck. Now, other tools don't give you the option to, separate or segregate that data. Because we had that ability here, we can work with our managers, we can work with the drivers, and we can actually know, was Quentin in the truck or was Monica in the truck? Quentin's actually a new hire for us, so we know Monica was the one doing all the work here. So I'm going to assign that to Monica, and that'll go ahead and update Monica's basically lifetime approved fuel percentage metric, so that I as a business owner know who's impacting my fuel costs and who's not. So this step, basically we just start cycling through our trucks, making sure that we've got all of the fuel purchases assigned. Same thing we did over here. We're just cycling through the trucks and making sure that the correct driver was in the correct places. We're looking for things like broken legs to open up settlement adjustments, but we're reviewing the week's business here. Now, once we have our tractors trips all assigned to the right drivers, and we've made the adjustments that we need to, and we've assigned the fuel percentages, let's go ahead and look at building the actual driver mile sheets themselves. So I'm going to deselect my tractor here, come over here to driver pay, and I'm going to select the first employee on my list here. Now, what I'm looking at is kind of a quick summary. And if I click on either one of these, I can dig in and see a little bit more here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and reset this so we can kind of start from scratch here. So I'm going to click this reset pay. That's going to zero out everything. And this will be basically what you see when you first select a driver here. So the first thing we'll want to do is make sure our driver gets paid for their mileage. So I'm going to hit mileage here, and it's going to go through all of the trips that we assign that driver to back there in step 1, and apply their default pay rate for all of those trips. We can manage those default pay rates by clicking on her name over here. We get a quick preview of everything we know about the driver and the default rates for that driver, as well as a place to kind of keep notes. We can go more into the information saved on each driver when we look at the driver profiles. Now, once I've paid them for their mileage, I also have the opportunity to pay them an additional flat rate for whatever I might need to per diem, and add a note for that driver to see on their mile sheet. So let's go ahead and let's put a memo here. Here is a note for this presentation. All right, and that's going to leave a little memo here for them on their pay stub, basically. Now, we've paid them for the mileage. Because we're in the middle of peak incentives here, we're actually running a bonus to where you actually get an extra nickel per mile for every mile over 4,000 miles. Now, normally that would be kind of a tricky calculation, but we actually have some pre-configured buttons that I'm going to show you how to set up here in a second to make that easier for us. So let's go ahead and give her everything, that nickel per mile for everything over 4,000 miles. Notice I've just clicked on it and it's going to apply it to a driver sheet here. Now, because she's a solo driver, there was also a peak incentive going on this week to get an extra 2 cents for every mile as well. So you'll see here that we can create quite complicated bonus structures, but still make it quite easy to apply them and calculate them here with these bonus buttons over here. So we also need to get her per diem put in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly add, let's see, 7 days worth of per diem. And if I have a question about that, I can view her schedule here and I can see what route she was scheduled on if you're using the schedule feature. But I can also see, how many miles were driven each day. And I can see here she was on the road for all 7 of those days. So I'm going to apply the per diem there. Now we can also, this add flat right here button will kind of give you a chance to add in anything like a reimbursement or any other additional type of pay that you might need. So let's call this a hotel reimbursement for $50. And let's see, it's not taxable because it's a reimbursable, but it is payable, and it's a supplement. That's kind of something we use to track the reimbursements here. These pay categories are optional, but you can go ahead and add any kind of tag that you want to it as well. Now we'll click save, and that's going to put that $50 here in her non-taxable column. Now, and we're pretty much done here with Molly. So what we'll do is we'll just use this arrow here to go to the next driver, and we just kind of rinse and repeat and keep going with each one of our drivers here. Now, we also see here this approved fuel percentage for Molly. We can see that, based on the fuel assignments that we provided there, she's been 100% with all of her fuel ups. So we just get some additional information as we go along here. Now, we have a couple options to share these, and I'm going to show you the share options here in a second. But since we're here on Molly, if we did want to go ahead and give this a quick view, all we need to do is from this menu right here, we'll click on View, and it's going to show us, let's see, don't know if my screen capture is going to let that. Let's pause for a second. Here we go. So this is a preview of what Molly is going to see when she opens that PDF up on her computer or on her phone. Everything's very mobile friendly from the driver's side as well. But you'll notice that we've got a total miles driven, we've got our compensation, we've got a breakdown of all of those bonuses and additional pay types that we added here. And you'll see that she also has a list of all of her trips and the exact mileage rate that she was paid for each one of those trips, along with our fuel purchases over here. And this is designed to print really easy to PDF as well. We've got that option. So now that's if we just wanted to see her check. Let's go over here to the summary tab. Let me zoom in one more time. And here on the summary tab, we've got the option to basically see a breakdown by driver and over here by tractor as well. If the totals are looking a little tricky, you can manually refresh everything here if you've made some changes recently to get a true picture. We can go ahead, and one of my favorite things to do is just go ahead and grab all of them and sort by the payroll cost per mile and get an idea of who my most expensive employees were for the week. Now, another interesting thing to look at is over here on the tractor level. So we can click here to the tractor tab, and it'll take it a couple seconds to populate. And here we'll have basically a P&L breakdown of the tractor itself and how much that payroll cost was as a percentage of our trip revenue. If there's a particular KPI that you monitor a lot, go ahead and make sure you open a ticket for it, because if it's something you need to see, there's a good chance another contractor will need to see it as well, and we'd love to bring all those numbers in there for you. And what we're looking at now is the total miles for each one of our trucks, the gross revenue and trip revenue. If you're confused on the difference between those two, ask one of your representatives and they'll break it out. But it's basically the omission or the subtraction of fuel, so that fuel costs aren't included in that revenue number, kind of artificially inflating it. So that we'll see that driver pay, and we'll see that driver pay as a percentage of the trip revenue. Once we've reviewed everything, once we have built up our driver mile sheets and we're actually ready to send them, we can move over here to the send tab, and there's a couple different distribution methods. There's an email and a text message. What we'll do here is you can just select everybody that you want to send it to and hit the send button. I'm not going to send it now because these guys have already got it. And it'll send out an email with that PDF attachment, or with a link, I should say, to this page right here for them to view their mile sheet. And it'll also text them that same link that they can open on their phone and view their mile sheet attachment as well. This delivery status button will actually give you an indicator over here, red or green, on who's received it and who hasn't received it to start, so that you can monitor the delivery there as well. We also have options to go ahead and quickly update phone number and email to make sure that you've always got the latest contact information in there. So, and with that, once we've sent those files out, we're pretty much done. Depending on the payroll provider you use, for example, we use Paylocity. We've got a couple of customers that I know using Gusto, and I think ADP as well. Now, Paylocity lets us import all of this information directly into them with a CSV file. So if you're using Paylocity as well, you can use this export Paylocity CSV, and it will give you a file that you can use to give directly to Paylocity with the correct headers in there, so it'll automatically build all of those paychecks for you. If you're not using Paylocity, if you're using something like Gusto, ADP, or handwriting checks, what I would recommend you do is come over here to the driver summary and just go ahead and export this driver summary with this little download button right here, and it'll go ahead and send the file out to basically a spreadsheet, and you can filter in and use that to copy the information over into your payroll tool. If your payroll tool does accept a CSV file, but you need some slightly different headers, just please open up a ticket or reach out to your support rep, and we'll get those headers customized for you, so that you have a file that you can use to automatically build those paychecks for you inside of your payroll system. So yeah, and with that, you've processed payroll. If we close out of here, we can go back to our kind of week over week view. And we can also go ahead and customize those bonus buttons that we saw as well. Now, let's say for your particular scenario going on, you've got a new type of schedule bonus to where if they drive for 5 days, they get an extra, 3 cents per mile. And what we can do here is just describe that bonus. 3 if available 7 days. So if you're available for 7 days, you get an extra 3 cents on all of your miles, or maybe it's only going to be on miles over 5,000 for the week. However you want to describe it. These tools here, these buttons here, kind of give you the ability to create a bonus that could apply to really any scenario that we've been able to think of so far. If you have a scenario that you're using to pay that isn't quite working with these tools right here, please open a ticket, let your support rep know, and we'll figure out exactly how to rearrange those buttons so that you've got the smoothest, easiest experience when it comes to processing payroll. So that was that for processing payroll. Go ahead and check out some of our other videos where we'll dig into driver profiles, tractor profiles, and of course, how to get your instance set up to look like this one as well. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out to your support rep. Please reach out to me at supports@helpdesk.fx-fast.com.